All right, so here's a 3.5-inch speaker that I put into the dash. I took out the stock tweeters and I added these. There's enough space for a 3.5-inch speaker. One of the things is though, when you want to install this, you should use a bass blocker. So because otherwise these things are not meant for bass, so it's gonna sound very bad and distorted when the volume's turned up. So I had the issue of having to lower my bass to about halfway, and I'm using stock. I have a stock head unit. I don't have an amplifier yet. That's in the works. But for now, I've just switched out my dash tweeters for these speakers and my door speakers, just to make it sound a little better, because factory is not that good. But let me go ahead and explain how to basically put this in line with the harness positive wire. All right, so we're gonna pretend that it is on the dash already, and you're about to take out this tweeter grill. You're gonna need a little pry tool. Your windshield's over here, obviously. You're just kind of gonna get in there underneath and just kind of pry it, and it'll pop. There are two red clips that are holding it in place. You're gonna flip it over. Now, when you take it out the first time, the tweeter, at least on my car, was in here, and there's a harness on the tweeter, female. You disconnect it, and then you can pop the tweeter off, and then you're good to go. So once you take off the little tweeter grill, this is what you'll see. So if you'll notice, there's two holes right here. Trying to get my finger there, right here, and there's another one over here. You can't, the tweeter won't go in that way. So I had to drill holes right here and right here, right where that little gray, this part is right here. I had to drill holes in there, and it was a pain, and I kind of drilled it at an angle, but it still worked. So this little dark gray smudge, and then this one too, it's actually foam. I had to drill two holes right there. So, but that's what you'll have to do, which is kind of a pain. And I just had to let you know ahead of time. So obviously you're gonna need the speaker, which is a JBL Club 3020. The harness is a Red Wolf harness. And then the bass blocker is a pack bass blocker, meant for 3.5-inch speakers. To connect them, I use these. They are spade connectors. It doesn't matter which way you put the bass blocker on. They're both, you just connect it between the speaker and the speaker positive and the harness positive. The harness comes with the female side already in, so it's just all one thing, and then it's plug and play to the car. So basically I cut the wire. This was a lot longer. I cut it, I stripped it, and I connected a female side. The female side goes into the speaker, and then on the other side I cut it, and you can't see it because I have heat shrink on there. I put a male side, the male side, same thing, strip the wire, put it in there, and close that. Make sure you have good connection. Oh, and for those that don't know, just a heads up, the bigger male side coming from the speaker is going to be your positive, and then the skinnier side from the speaker is going to be your negative. Sometimes it'll be labeled, sometimes it won't. Like right here, if I didn't really know, you can kind of see right there, the wire is kind of black. One wire has the black line and the other wire is just clear. Usually the ones that have a black line, or if not the cable or wire is black, it's a negative, but that's not always the case. So just letting you know. So the last thing I did was heat shrink the connections. Before all that, you want to make sure when you put the spades in, go plug it in, make sure it works, and then do your heat shrinking. But anyways, I have this heat shrink. I don't know the size of this one. But I cut it into 4s because you need 2 per speaker. And then I have this big one, which I cut in half. Or I'm sorry, I cut in half and I only used 1/2. I cut the first half that I used into 2. And I use that for right here. So female on this side to the speaker, heat shrink. Male side right here that goes into the harness, heat shrink. And then the connection was slightly loose. I wasn't comfortable with how it connected, so I put a black heat shrink covering the male-female connection from the base blocker to the harness, and plugged it in. It all worked, and you're good to go. Hope that helped. Almost forgot to mention, for the 2 holes that I drilled, right, let's see if I get my finger right there and right there, I used I believe it was a 1/8 inch, or sorry, 1/8 drill bit. And then for the screws, I eyeballed it. These are 8mm socket screws, and I believe they're 3/4 inch length, but that's what I had to use. So I eyeballed it. Luckily I was right, because I bought a bunch of screws and these ended up working. So